Turning trash into treasure is the motto for a pair of Minnesota bottle collectors. John Lauritsen shows how they're unearthing a bit of history in their backyards.
Teal green, it's very hard to find this particular bottle.
Minnesota is full of all kinds of collectors.
Spa Bottling out of St. Paul, Minnesota. They call that a hutch.
They can grow their collections through flea markets, estate sales, and even eBay.
One of the favorite ones right here.
Como whiskey, that's got to be in St. Paul.
Mark Youngblood built up his old bottle collection by digging down.
How many bottles do you have now, Mark?
It's a good question. I haven't counted, probably over 10,000.
We could count them today just to make sure.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of time for that.
He began bottle hunting when he was 12. Nearly 50 years later, his hobby shows no signs of slowing down. He's even turned his home into a mini museum. And in some circles, he's known as the outhouse archaeologist, because that's where he finds his treasure. Outhouse pits are also called privies, and many older homes in Minnesota can have up to a dozen privies buried in their yard, where people discarded all kinds of trash, from doll heads to dentures.
I have another spot in Brainerd where we dug. We had 9 pits in one backyard.
The Department of Archaeology says it's against the law to dig on state or federal land without a permit. And even on private property, the practice is discouraged, but it's not illegal. Mark says his team first gets permission from a homeowner, and then they make sure there are no lines in the ground before they dig, slowly, by hand.
But there's something right below.
Even then, they work in teams for safety's sake.
Brainerd's been dug heavy. I've dug St. Paul, Minneapolis. I've dug a lot of digging in Plainview, Minnesota.
The passion Mark feels in White Bear Lake is shared on the other side of the Twin Cities.
We're looking for something that nobody's ever seen before.
Brian Mann has been on outhouse digs, but his collection in Zimmerman has also grown from buying and trading. Over the years, he's come across beer, whiskey, soda, and even ancient snake oil bottles, magic elixirs, which once held a variety of concoctions.
This is a Wiles megaphone, and it says it's a whiskey bottle, and this is very rare.
When you find something like this, you research it.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was until I researched.
And that's part of the thrill, coming across old newspaper clippings, highlighting a century-old whiskey or soda company that was only around for a few years. For these collectors, bottles quench their thirst for discovery.
It's exhilarating. Thrill of having something that's 125, 140 years old, piece of artifact that's in your hand that hasn't seen the light of day for 150 years.
Youngblood shares his love for collecting through frequent guest speaking appearances at historical societies across the Gopher State.